guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to their Sims 4 speed build. Fair warning, it should say in the title, but just in case it doesn't, this is part 1 of actually not that big a build, but a decently detailed build, I think. Not even that, it's just one of those that took a lot of thinking and a lot of time to come together, so I ended up splitting it into 2 parts because I think it was a fairly interesting setup here. So the idea is I was watching a YouTube channel again. I was watching Tokyo Traveler, and I got inspired to build tiny apartments again. She's not actually living in a tiny apartment anymore, but some of her older videos are about her really tiny apartments. And I got to thinking about how, since we have residential rentals now, we could actually do some of those Japanese style tiny apartments in Mount Komorebi. So I started trying to figure out how to do that, and it fought me. And I left some of that in because if you, like me, were struggling, I wanted you to see some of the struggle and some of the solutions because it might trigger a better idea for you, because it definitely kicked my butt. I may or may not have cried over this build. It's fine. Originally, the goal was 3 apartments. We ended up with 2, but I think it makes sense, and I think it turned out good. And from my very light research, it seems like that's actually fairly appropriate for an apartment building, a small apartment building in Tokyo. It seems, it kind of reminds me of New York when I watch these videos and stuff, because I watch, Tokyo Lens, and I watch, oh, no, it's just on my head. Is it the Tokyo Portfolio? I think it's Tokyo Portfolio. I don't know how I got here. I've never really had a special interest in Japan or anything like that. Not that it's not a beautiful country. I think it started just because I went down a rabbit hole with Tokyo Traveler. I stumbled upon her when I was looking at just different apartment builds, and I do watch a lot of apartments and house builds and van builds, little tiny home builds on YouTube and stuff. And so I think it just became this natural sort of progression of YouTube was you watched some Japanese content, here's more Japanese content, which is totally fine. I find it very fascinating to see the different ways that people lay out apartments and homes and things in different countries, in Korea and Japan. Even over in the UK, there are things that are very different to me than I see here in the US, and I think it's really fun to use those styles. But I do want to do the disclaimer here of I have never been to Japan. I unfortunately will probably not be going to Japan anytime soon. That is not something I can do right now. So everything that I'm learning is off of the internet. And obviously we know we can trust the internet implicitly with everything we do in our lives, right? Wrong. So I may misspeak in this. I may have wrong misconceptions, and I do apologize for that. And if you know the correct answer and you can correct me, please do in the comments. Maybe be a little bit respectful about it would be nice. But my understanding is that it doesn't seem that uncommon to see 1 or 2 apartments on top of a smaller, convenience store or a shop of some kind. That doesn't seem wholly uncommon, and it does seem like their buildings are kind of somewhat stacked on top of each other, kind of like in a big city in the United States. So that's what I was going for. You can see me really struggling. I was originally trying to go incredibly small, super duper tiny with just a little loft space above. I was thinking those ones that are I think it's 8 meters or something like that. Here's the cut where I had to walk away and go get food. I love how this little building turned out. But I did end up going a little bit bigger, and I think it makes sense in The Sims because, quite frankly, there's a point where you can go just a little bit too small in The Sims, and it's just not functional or fun at that point. There is sort of a limit, in my opinion, to the fun of a build. Here you can see me trying to decorate the building. So in the bottom floor, there is a self-serve laundrette, and there is a self-serve convenience store. Looking at the self-serve convenience store, I'll be entirely honest with you, I wish I had filled it out a little bit more, but I'm still not entirely sure how I would have done that. But it seemed to me in my research and stuff, and again, surface level research, never been there, and unfortunately because of the language barrier, I am also usually watching expats. I'm watching either Americans or Australians or English speakers from different countries in and around Europe go to Japan and explain things. And a lot of them have lived there for several years, but they are not native necessarily to Japan, so some of my misconceptions may come from that as well, because I don't understand Japanese. I am absolutely flummoxed by people who can learn Japanese. That seems like such a cool language. That is so far above my skill and learning level. Holy Moses. What was the initial point to that? Oh, it seemed like it was not wholly uncommon in kind of watching some of these videos and doing some of this research to have self-serve convenience stores or convenience stores where it's clearly owned by someone and stocked by someone and maintained by someone, but there's not always someone tending. It's sort of this honor system where the machines are paid where it's sort of like you see a lot of banks of vending machines and stuff too, where it's sort of this idea of like, this is here for you to pay for if you need it, but someone doesn't need to be here to monitor you because we just expect you to behave well, because that is the culture there. You are, you're not going to try to rip off the vending machine or the coffee machine or the ramen machine because we trust you to behave like the adult that you were raised to be. So I did a self-serve convenience store in here. It has a coffee space, a microwave, pretty much all of the vending machines, because I couldn't remember what they all did and I was too lazy to read, and I just thought, well, it makes sense if it's going to be a convenience store that they sell a few different things, because it seems like convenience stores in Japan, and to some extent in Korea, South Korea as well, can sell a variety of things. They're not like a convenience store in America. We tend to think of like gas stations, so we tend to think of like gas station food, we tend to think of like road trip supplies, that kind of thing. But it seems like in Japan, it's a little bit more of like almost a mini grocery store, and to some extent in Korea as well. And it seems like Korea also has this kind of idea of like, there are places that can be self-serve. We expect you to act like an adult and be respectful, and as such, you can be trusted with vending machines without being babysat. So I went ahead and did that, and I tried to make it look like there was a place for this, to like get ramen and stuff. There's also just a fridge in there. I am not entirely sure if the cooler that's in there's a big stand-up cooler from Get to Work. I don't think that will work on this lot. So it's entirely just in there for aesthetics, but there is a mini fridge that my understanding is will work, and it looks like a little fridge. So your sim could go get quick meals. Because of the microwave, your sim can make quick meals in the microwave as well, which opens up some more opportunities. There's a coffee maker in there, like I said. And there's vending machines for different foods and gifts and things as needed. So it's not out of the idea that you could go down and actually shop in there. And with the laundrette, I also put the laundry machines in that have the little coin swatch on them. There's one singular laundry machine in the swatches, if you have laundry day, that has a coin operation mechanism on it, like just on the swatch in the corner. So I went ahead and put those in, again with the understanding that this is a self-serve laundrette. It's not it doesn't need someone there. And then I put some stuff around to make it look like people were using it. But I thought both of those things would be really interesting. There's no hampers in this build, so laundry isn't functional, because I didn't want laundry to be functional. I wanted that to be your choice when you moved in, but you could put a laundry hamper in your apartment and then use this laundrette, or you could put a hamper in a house nearby and use this laundrette, I believe. Could be wrong about that. I haven't played a lot with Laundry Day because it was broken, to be honest with you, for so long. I use those pieces, honestly, more as decor pieces than anything. They don't usually functionally impact my gameplay. I also tried to make this building look like it had been used for a few different things. There were several times I put some awnings on there. I did put some cracks and stuff. Now, my understanding is that, like, from what I've seen, again, and this is probably a misconception on my part, it does seem like Japan is doing a really good job of trying to make sure that everything is earthquake safe. But just like everywhere else in the world, if it's a superficial crack, it doesn't always get fixed right away. They're a very clean and neat city. Tokyo seems to be, like, at least compared to where I've lived, but I lived in Seattle where grunge was like the thing, so who knows. But it did sort of seem like they took a lot of pride in their buildings, but they also took a lot of pride sometimes in the, like, age and history of their buildings. So I did add some cracks and things. It wasn't to make the building look run down, but it was to acknowledge the fact that Japan is in an earthquake zone, and I believe I'm trying to remember where that rim runs. I believe there's actually several Asian countries around in there that deal with earthquakes. I'm trying to think offhand of the ones that I've seen more recently. We have an earthquake thing at work, but it goes off enough throughout all of the world that I kind of tone it out, which is probably not ideal. The 2 apartments upstairs, which we'll get to probably more in the second half, are 2-story each, and they will work as residential rentals. Neither of the places downstairs are set up to work with Get to Work. They won't turn into anything that you can use. Here we're working on the laundrette here. Do you see the little it's on the left hand side on top and on the right hand side on the bottom there. Do you see that little gray patch that comes up? It's kind of hard to tell in the speed of this video. That is a coin operation mechanism. That's made to look like you can pull the little doohickey out, put your little coins in, and it'll run for a certain amount of time. So I went ahead and did those swatches. And then I put a table over on this side, and I'll be picking it here in a minute. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. But I end up picking, I think, a console table is what I ultimately end up picking. And I put some stuff on it to make it look like a folding station. I thought about putting an iron in, but to be honest, that felt kind of weird. I can't imagine you really wanting to do your ironing. But yeah, I put in a bar height table. Oh, I put picnic tables outside just because I thought it would be nice to have a little outdoor space. And it might invite Sims to congregate on the lot too, which I thought would be kind of nice. If you're living in a small apartment, you can have more outdoor activities with your friends and stuff. I can't remember if I put a grill out there or not. I think maybe not. I think I ended up not putting a grill out there. But here you can see I'm putting different supplies out, make it look like people maybe left some stuff by because they're mid-wash. I put some folded towels and stuff out to make it look like they're actively folding laundry. I'm personally not the kind of person who can just leave my laundry out. That stresses me out, but I know some people can, no problem, so I made it look like that. Put some stuff on top of the laundry systems themselves, although I will say when I replaced this lot, those did disappear into the household inventory. So be advised that those things on top of the actual laundry machines themselves might disappear. I'm not really sure why. They're placed in an actual slot, but it's The Sims 4. Ours is not to question why. Ours is just to build. I butchered that code a little bit, but it's fine. Here I'm putting some cleaning supplies out. I was looking for something to put on the wall. I thought that was kind of cool, this little vent. I was looking for something to put on the wall. Originally I was trying to look for like a pricing thing or like maybe a local news thing. I can't remember what I ended up going with, but I remember it not being completely perfect to what I wanted, but close enough, which was fine. It was sort of a like, well, I'll deal with it. Oh, maybe I put that in. Yeah, that was kind of cute. Oh, and then I put the thing over there for like prices and stuff. Trying to figure out, just make it look a little bit more self-serve, make it look a little bit more put together. And I think it's kind of cool. I think it gives off the vibe that I want. It's very industrial. It's not super chic or anything like that. And I'm pretty happy with like I said, the vibe that it gives off. It's utilitarian, and that's kind of what I was going for, which I don't know if that's entirely correct within the culture that I was building, but it sort of fit the vibe that I had in my head for the build. So I think we can take some artistic liberties here. We can say inspired by, but not directly copied from, and kind of save ourselves a little bit of stress here. Here I went with the gray brick. I did make it look like the painted brick in here a few different times because I love that look, and I think it lends itself very much to sort of a like commercial vibe when the outside of the building. So it matches here. I'm just painting all of the walls white to get rid of the effect, and I did that sort of pressed concrete because again that sort of gave me the vibe that I wanted to enter this sort of what I'm calling a convenience store, which the layout changes a ton. I fought with this because originally I just wanted like vending machines everywhere. I wanted like a big bank of vending machines, but I ended up changing my mind on that, as you'll see here in a bit. And honestly, like I said, I kind of wish I had sat with this longer, but I didn't even have an inkling of an idea at a time, so this might be a fun thing. I've been thinking about doing shorts to maybe go back and like fix things. Just go back to old builds and be like, here's how I would do this differently now that I've sat with it for a while, because it's amazing what you think of when you're editing or like when you watch a build back. And then I found these. So there's a warmer and a cooler. I think I left the cooler in here. I might have done both. I can't remember. Neither of these are going to work in this capacity. I do not believe. One might work as a fridge where you can store things, but it's not going to be secure. The warmer is not going to work at all. These are get to work items specifically for having like cafes and things. I just thought they looked cool. I thought they made sense in the space, but they're not functional. But that little mini fridge should be. And actually maybe I get rid of the warmers. I can't remember because I kept finding these little things. That will also work as a fridge. And here I end up putting the microwave over there. So I was kind of trying to make like these different stations, as you can see, for different like food prep and stuff. And I left a counter open for cooking because I could not remember if quick meals needed a counter or not. So I left a counter completely open for cooking as well. It also just helps out in general to have a place to set things. I didn't do a lot of decoration on the wall because I was finding some conflicting reports as to how much decoration happened on the walls in these kind of convenience stores, whether it was very clean and neat or whether there was a lot going on. Again, this is another thing that I think I would change if I went back. I think I would add more to the walls, make it look a little bit more friendly in here. But again, I was trying to just hit that sort of like, this is self-service. You quickly go down, you can use the microwave and the coffee maker. And I think it's kind of cool to just have these things on site. And here I'm doing the inner, this is where the walk-up for the apartments are. This is also inner buildings where you can go through and get into the shops this way. The convenience store, you have to come in this way. The laundrette, I did put a door on the outside. So that's kind of neat. I like that. And there's I think it's supposed to be a in case of fire, get out, but it's a flaming dude, and I just thought it was really funny. And I thought it kind of served the purpose of like, in case of fire, go down the stairs. kind of thing. There is a little rooftop space because it sure seems like the culture is very much to use the rooftop spaces that you have. That seems to span across a few cultures. I see a lot of people do that in New York. You see people using their fire escapes and stuff, which is not super safe, but you know, and you see a lot in like overhead pictures of like Rio, for example, people using their outdoor space like that. But here we're looking at the screenshots because we've done pretty much all of the downstairs. In the next part, we'll do the 2 apartments upstairs. I'm sorry I had to split it into 2, but it was either 2 17-ish minute videos or like 1 45-minute video, and I was just like, this needs to chill out just a little bit. So I will catch you all in the next one. I think I'm gonna stop yapping though. I'm really excited for you guys to see the apartments though too. They tell some pretty cool stories. I'm pretty happy with them. Let me know what you all think. Did I really mess up some things culture-wise? Did I get some of it right? Is this something similar to what you would see in Japan? Let me know. I want to travel there one day. And in the meantime, guys, I hope you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you. I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world a better place just by being you. And I'm so glad you're here hanging out with me, building in the Sims, playing Minecraft, doing all this fun stuff on the channel. Next up should be part 2 of this, and then I think there's another cool build coming up. I've had a couple that I'm pretty proud of, tooting my own horn a little bit. And in the meantime, guys, I'll talk to you later. Okay, love you, bye! Mwah!